Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson, and this is my review for Underwater, which is about a group of scientists that are in a research station in the Mariana Trench, but something happens to where the station itself starts falling apart, malfunctioning, so the surviving crew members, one of them played by Kristen Stewart, have to pretty much escape and get back to the surface. So this is probably going to be one of those reviews where I really don't have much to say about the movie. If you've seen the trailers for this movie and you thought to yourself, this reminds me a lot of Alien, but underwater, then you've pretty much seen this movie, because that's exactly what it is. In a way, it kind of reminded me of Life, that Ryan Reynolds, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Rebecca Ferguson science fiction movie that was very similar to Alien in its own right. And this is, in a way, Alien meets The Abyss, where it has the same plot and idea of Alien, right down to some sets clearly being stolen from Alien, but sets it underwater with a science fiction element much like The Abyss. And I think this movie knows that it's pretty much Alien meets The Abyss because it does not waste any time getting into the action, which I appreciate that the movie's very straightforward since we kind of know what it's going to be, but in a way it's straightforward to a fault, because we're not really given much of an introduction to these characters, and as the movie goes on, there's barely any dialogue to define them. You don't get to know much of their personalities, they're just types. The only one you really get to know right off the bat is TJ Miller, and he is pretty much playing TJ Miller once again. And I will say this, he's a more toned down TJ Miller. He is not as over the top or as goofy as he is in other movies, so in a way that's kind of appreciated, but most of his jokes here just don't seem to work. And then you have Jessica Henwick, who pretty much is the Lambert type character in a way. You might remember this actress from Game of Thrones, Iron Fist, and as one of the X-Wing pilots in The Force Awakens. You have Vincent Cassel as the captain of this crew, and then of course you have Kristen Stewart, and is trying to come across as the Ellen Ripley type character. And while she's the best performance in this movie, not to say that anyone else is bad, it's just, again, her character is not that interesting. All these characters here don't really have that much going for them outside of who they're parallel to in Alien. But I will say this, after a certain point, once some of the characters start getting killed off, that's when the movie actually starts to get really effective in terms of its horror elements. There are points in this movie where the characters have to go out into the water, and because they're at the bottom of the ocean, it's pitch black, it's murky, you can't really see anything, which some people have complained about, and I'll admit I'm not a big fan of these murky underwater type scenarios, but with the context of this movie, it actually lends itself to the horror pretty effectively. There are a lot of points in this movie where the characters are walking through the bottom of the ocean. I was just like this. Because there are some legitimately creepy moments in here. Some of them do rely on jump scares, but the other time it's very atmospheric and very effective. And I also gotta say that I like the ending of the movie. It ends in a way where I didn't expect it to end the way it did, and I appreciate that because it didn't try to rip off the ending of Alien, and it didn't cop out at all the same way that Life did, where you just watch the ending and go, man, screw you. It actually ended in a very appropriate way, and throughout the entire second half, I actually found myself enjoying the movie. I don't love it, and the first half is actually kind of a struggle to get through because it's just not that interesting, and you've seen all of these plot elements play out before. But in the second half, it's pretty effective. So I think based on the second half of the movie and how I feel, I'm just gonna say it's good, but it's nowhere near great. Again, if you've seen Alien and you've seen The Abyss, then you've pretty much seen this movie. But if you're not gonna hold that against this movie, then you might actually end up having a good time. It's not a bad movie at all, but it's definitely not too original either. I'm probably gonna forget about this within a week, but not bad. And there you go, that's my review for Underwater. And now I want to know what you guys think about the movie. If you've seen it, what did you think? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, leave a comment, support my Patreon page, follow me on social media, and until then, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.